Daily Words of God. Today, most people don't realize. They believe that suffering is without value. They are renounced by the world. Their home life is troubled. They are not beloved of God, and their prospects are bleak. The suffering of some people reaches a certain point, and their thoughts turn to death. This is not the true love of God. Such people are cowards. They have no perseverance. They are weak and powerless. God is eager for man to love him, but the more man loves him, the greater man's suffering. And the more man loves him, the greater man's trials. If you love him, then every kind of suffering will befall you. And if you don't, then perhaps everything will go smoothly for you, and all will be peaceful around you. When you love God, you will feel that much around you is insurmountable, and because your stature is too small, you will be refined and incapable of satisfying God. You will feel that God's will is too lofty, that it is beyond the reach of man. Because of all this, you will be refined, because there is much weakness within you, and much that is incapable of satisfying the will of God. You will be refined inside. Yet you must clearly see that purification is only achieved through refinement. Thus, during these last days, you must bear testimony to God. No matter how great your suffering, you should go on to the very end, and even at your last breath, still you must be faithful to God and at the mercy of God. Only this is truly loving God, and only this is the strong and resounding testimony. When you are tempted, you should say, "My heart belongs to God, and God has already gained me. I cannot satisfy you. I must devote my all to satisfying God." The more you satisfy God, the more God blesses you, and the greater the strength of your love for God. So too will you have faith and resolve, and will feel that nothing is more worthy or significant than a life spent loving God. It can be said that man has but to love God to be without sorrow. Although there are times when your flesh is weak and you are beset by many real troubles, during these times you will truly rely on God, and within your spirit you will be consoled, and you will feel certainty, and that you have something to depend upon. In this way, you will be able to overcome many environments, and so you will not complain about God because of the anguish that you suffer. You will want to sing, dance, and pray, to assemble and commune, to give thought to God, and you will feel that all the people, matters, and things around you that are organized by God are fitting. If you do not love God, all that you look upon will be irksome to you. Nothing will be pleasing to your eyes. In your spirit you will not be free, but downtrodden. Your heart will always complain about God, and you will always feel that you suffer so much torment, and that it is so unjust. If you do not pursue for the sake of happiness, but in order to satisfy God and to not be accused by Satan, then such pursuit will give you great strength to love God. Man is able to carry out all that is spoken by God, and all that he does is able to satisfy God. This is what it means to be possessed of reality. Pursuing the satisfaction of God is using the love of God to put His words into practice. Regardless of the time, even when others are without strength, inside of you there is still a heart which loves God, which profoundly yearns for God and misses God. This is real stature. Just how great your stature is depends on how great your love of God is, on whether you are able to stand fast when tested, whether you are weak when a certain environment comes upon you, and whether you can stand your ground when your brothers and sisters reject you. The arrival of the facts will show just what your love of God is like. It can be seen from much of God's work that God really does love man. It's just that the eyes of man's spirit have yet to be completely opened, and he is unable to see through to much of the work of God and the will of God, and the many things which are lovely about God. Man has too little true love for God. You've believed in God throughout all this time, and today God has cut off all means of escape. Realistically speaking, you have no choice but to take the right path that you have been led onto by the harsh judgment and supreme salvation of God. Only after experiencing hardship and refinement does man know that God is lovely. Having experienced up until today, it can be said that man has come to know part of God's loveliness, but this is still not enough, because man is so lacking. He must experience more of God's wondrous work, and more of all the refinement of suffering set out by God. Only then can man's life disposition be changed.